got a slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your head. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now. Hold on, hold on. Not tonight, not now. Hold on. Let me pull you out. That BAL up bites hard, but it don't get the crown.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you with Toadstool Sports for Sunday, August 2nd. Had a winning day on the show yesterday, 2-1. Started out with an outright win in the WNBA in the afternoon on the Chicago Sky. They were losing for a decent amount in that game. They were hanging around in the game, and they wound up winning the game outright in the end, so happy about that. That's why I always say put some of it on the money line, man. Whenever you play an underdog at all, I would say put some on the money line, but a short underdog price like that, yeah, 10% money line, and then you get some extra money out of it if it happens, which it did. We did not get the Mets right. The Mets were ass. Zach Thornton didn't have a good start. They teased a little bit after they fell behind 3-0. They cut it to 3-2. In, I don't know, the third inning, fourth inning, and it looked like, oh, maybe the Mets are going to come back here. No, then they never scored again, so great. And then we did get the under right in Red Sox Dodgers. Maybe a little bit lucky there. The Dodgers put up a lot of hits, 10 hits, but they did not get a lot of runs out of it. But usually when you get 10 runs, you're going to get more than 10 hits, you're going to get more than 2 runs out of it. Red Sox had a couple of solo home runs from Rafaela, so the Red Sox scored probably more runs than I guess they should have. I think maybe it still should have gone under, but the score really should have been probably like a 4-1 Dodgers win would have been more appropriate for how that game played out. I mean, I'm happy the Red Sox won because I'm a fan, but it is what it is. I'm happy we got the under right. There was really like one inning where it was pretty surprising that the Dodgers didn't get another run home. I think it was like the 4th inning, maybe, something like that. They scored, I think, 1 run in the inning, and they had second and third with 1 out, and they didn't score again after that. But handed to Peyton Tolle, I guess, racking up some strikeouts, getting out of some jams. All right, we'll move on to today. Today, I like a lot of unders today, and that is what my card is going to look like. I had to find a way to limit myself, and hopefully I'm picking the right ones because there were 5 games that I identify where I like the unders in all of them. But a lot of them wind up being first fives because I want to avoid the bullpens for various reasons. And I know we're skating on the edge there when we're trying to take it first 5 under. Let's get it done, man. Hopefully we can get this done. Hopefully we can get a winning day out of this card here. And hopefully the ones that I'm leaving off, hopefully I'm doing that for the right reason. But we'll see. I mean, those are still going to be leans for me, of course. First game up, Philadelphia, Baltimore. We got a lot of afternoon games here, obviously, because this is the end of a series for all these teams. We'll have new series starting tomorrow, for some teams at least. Some teams are off tomorrow. Philadelphia won yesterday 5-0 behind Christopher Sanchez, I'm pretty sure. So they bounced back with a win. This is a split 1-1 series here at this point. And what I will say, of course, is also we have to be aware of what's going on with the trade deadline situation because teams that are sellers at the trade deadline, of course, we're going to talk about the one team. It's like a major seller that has decided that that's what they're doing. A lot of times those teams don't play well in the short term because it's almost like a dream crusher, but I'll talk about that. You know what team I'm talking about probably. I'll get to that in a minute. It doesn't really involve this game here, Philadelphia and Baltimore. As far as the bullpens yesterday, Baltimore used 4 relief pitchers. They have the better bullpen here out of them in Philadelphia. And actually, wait a minute. I forgot. This is a play for me. Hang on. Wait, what? Philadelphia used 3. Hold on. This is a play. Yeah, so this is going to be a first 5 under play from me. I found it at under 4, minus 118. Not a horrible price there. Hopefully, a similar number is out there for everybody. I prefer the 4 over the 3.5, of course. Every half run matters in the first 5, but I like the starting pitching in this one, obviously. I don't like the bullpens well enough. I mean, I'm fine with the Orioles bullpen. They're actually not bad. They're at 10th, but this Phillies bullpen, they're ranked 20th. They have a mid-4s ERA. I really don't want to trust them. So I'm going to limit this to just the starting pitching, where I think the biggest advantage is. We do have a pretty weak Philly offense here at 23rd and Baltimore 19th. And Philly's pretty weak on the road offensively, specifically. So I think that's part of this handicap that's decent, is that these offenses hopefully are ones that are somewhat easier to hold in check here, even though Camden Yards is a more hitter-friendly ballpark. But I like the starting pitching here. Zach Wheeler is pitching for the Phillies, and we know that he's really good. 2.53 ERA, .92 whip. He's in the Cy Young discussion. He's been pitching like an angry dude, and mostly in a good way, since being named as an alternate for the All-Star game. And then when some pitcher dropped out, they invited him to the All-Star game, and he basically was like, F you, I'm not going to do it. He was disrespected by it. So, I mean, good on him. I like it. But he's actually been a little bit better on the road in some ways. 2.39 road ERA. Didn't pitch well last time out against Miami. He said he was sick or something in that game. I don't know, but I think that's an outlier. I mean, he's been pitching so well otherwise. I don't really put much weight into how bad that start was. He was basically elite in the month of July. 49 strikeouts and 4 walks in 27 2/3 innings. Still had a lot of strikeouts in that outing against Miami. So I don't really see much of a reason why the struggles for him would continue there. I think he got a little bit unlucky in that start too, and that basically everybody that reached base scored against him there. He's got a low hit rate on the season, very low. Low walk rate. He doesn't walk anybody either. Strikeout rate is high. All his numbers are good across the board. And he's good against Baltimore as well in 68 at-bats, 23-3 strikeout walk ratio, really good. 250 average allowed, 693 OPS. Not totally dominant there, but pretty good. So I think he should pitch well. And I'm going to back Kyle Bradish here as well, even though I know his whip kind of suggests that his ERA shouldn't be as good as it is. 3.74 ERA, 1.36 whip. But he's pitching better recently, and he's very good at home. He's been significantly better at home this year. 3.2 ERA with a 187 opponent batting average. So he's been significantly better at home. He had a bad outing, just like Wheeler. He had a bad outing last time out against Detroit on the road. He was way too hittable in that game, but he was pitching quite well in the starts leading into that. So I think that's an outlier as well. I don't really think that's a sign that he's totally falling apart or anything like that, because he was pitching so well otherwise leading into that for multiple starts in a row. And his overall numbers don't look bad to me. His hit rate's fairly low. Well, actually, his walk rate is too high. That's the one problem with him. That's why his whip is so high, is he walks too many guys. But his walk rate's come way down recently, so I'm not really that worried about that. He only has 5 walks in the last 25 innings, so that number's gone down recently. And he's got a reasonably high strikeout rate as well. And, of course, the clincher here is that he's pretty good against Philadelphia. 32 at-bats. I know it's not a huge sample, but he's held them to a 188 average, 663 OPS, 6-3 strikeout walk ratio. The ratio's not good, but the rest of those numbers are good. So I will back the starters here and back the under in the first 5. And I think the money's agreeing with me on, like, every one of these plays, too. We have 63% of tickets, 92% of the cash on the under here. The full game total is around 8 or 7.5. I think you should be able to find the 4 out there. I mean, I know 3.5. I hate that number, but hopefully you can find a 4 out there the way that I did. And the money's also coming out of Philadelphia for what that's worth, but they're also very public. I don't have a good read on the side, but 83% of tickets, 91% of the cash on Philly. They're at minus 130 or so here. I think if you try to play Philly, you should just do it in the first 5, but you'll have to pay more for that. I mean, Wheeler is just an excellent pitcher, so they probably have the edge in the starting pitching, at least somewhat, but they don't have a bullpen advantage. And Philly's a very public side, so obviously it wouldn't surprise me if they wind up losing this game in a low-scoring game. And low-scoring games, as I always say, kind of indicate that there might be some value on the underdog, especially a home underdog, really. But if you think it's going to be a low-scoring game, it means it's going to be closer, and the underdog can hang around more easily. So, but my play in that one is under in the first 5. All right. Garrett, what's up? 4.5. What was the juice on that? I mean, that's a good number if it's not heavy juice. Hopefully it's like minus 130 or less. I didn't see that, though. Let me look. I didn't check. Last I checked was before I did the show, but let me see. No, I don't see that. I see minus 143 at the book that starts with a B. That's the name of a gym. That's way too much juice there. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't pay minus 140 to get it up to 4.5. I would not do that. I would take the 4. Dirty Sock, yes, thank you. What's up? I think maybe we got a little bit lucky. I think the Chicago play was good. I mean, I still think the under was probably the correct play on that, the Red Sox Dodgers game. Washington, Atlanta here. Atlanta has not decided on a starting pitcher yet, and I think it's because Atlanta and the Mets are in a scenario where they had to play a doubleheader at the end of their series, so they played 2 games in one day. So the guy that should start next had to start in that first game of that series, and that was, I believe it was Smith-Shawver against Manaea, and they're not on the normal rest here, so neither one of them are going to start today, I don't think. Smith-Shawver actually got sent down to the minors, so I have no idea what the Braves are doing in this game. Maybe not a good sign. The Braves just haven't picked a starter, don't know who it is, unless somebody comes back. So, like, is Spencer Strider going to make a surprise comeback here for this game? I have no idea. Garrett, you're the Braves guy. Richie? Yeah, it might be. How could you? Oh, man, you got to get more books at your disposal, man. Minus 140 is ridiculous. Oh, my God. That price is horrible. All right. If we think it's J.R. Richie, I guess I can handicap him here. So in this series, though, I guess we have to look at what's going on. The Braves are on the verge of a 4-game sweep here. So, I like to look towards the team avoiding the sweep or trying to avoid the sweep. I think you get extra motivation out of that team that's trying to avoid the sweep. And the team that is on the verge of the sweep might just look ahead. Who do the Braves play next? Well, they play Miami. Maybe they do start looking ahead there. Miami's actually ahead of Washington in the standings. So, yeah, maybe the Braves, already having won the series, maybe they do start looking ahead to that game. Washington, we have a known starter on the mound for Washington here. Washington's bullpen's pretty bad, though. They use 2 guys, which isn't bad, but their bullpen is still obviously the worst of the 2 here, and it's not even really close. Atlanta only used 2 guys yesterday as well. They used nobody on Friday, so Atlanta's bullpen is rested. Atlanta's the number 2 bullpen here in WHIP, but their ERA is significantly worse at this point than Red Sox and Yankees, so I think they're the 3rd best bullpen is probably accurate for them, but still way better than Washington. Washington's 26th, not good. Braves are decent offensively at 9th. Washington number 2 in offense, and they've been hovering around number 1. Washington's a good offense on the road. Atlanta is slightly worse offensively at home, and Washington is going with Cade Cavalli here, who is pitching pretty well recently. He's got a 3.55 ERA on the season. He's got his whip down to 1.29, which is not too bad. He's good on the road, 3.25 road ERA, so he's better on the road. Washington as a team is just better on the road for whatever reason. Cavalli's been pretty good his last 4 starts have all been good. He's got a pretty good command ratio here. That's what he put up in the month of July, 28-7. Looking pretty good here. He's allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in his last 4 outings, and in 7 of his last 8, he's done that. So, yeah, he's definitely in form right now. His hit rate is below 1 per inning at this point, which is decent. His walk rate is fairly decent here as well. Strikeout rate is high, and he gets a lot of ground balls too, which I think is a decent way to pitch. You're not putting too many balls in the air. It means you're not going to give up that many home runs usually, which is the case with him. But his strikeout rate is so high, that tells you that he has talent, man. He can strike guys out at the major league level, and he's been okay against the Braves in 24 at-bats. 11 strikeouts, 1 walk. That's good. Good ratio there. The only thing that's bad about these numbers is the batting average at 292. That's a high average, but they haven't hit him for power like at all. They have a 695 OPS against him. So I kind of like Cavalli in this one, and I like the situation more for Washington here. Atlanta, if it's going to be Richie here, Ronaldo Lopez, I guess, just went on the DL again, too. Is Richie even on the roster right now? Where's he at? So I guess if it's Richie, they're going to call him up. Let me look at his numbers real quick, because I know he's been up and down this year. It looks like he's currently not on their roster, but they might call him up here. Richie has been in the minors since he last pitched in the majors on July 21st. So you can't see this. This is in a different window, but whatever. He didn't pitch well in that start against San Diego. And let me just see what his numbers are against Washington, if he has any. He probably does have some. Yeah, he's done okay against Washington. They have 24 at-bats against him, a 208 average, 728 OPS, 7-2 strikeout walk ratio. Let me see if I can bring this in so that people can see it. Here it is. Yeah, there are the numbers. It's in 24 at-bats. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of lean Washington here, but I'm not going to come in and try to fade this. I mean, unless we determine that it's not going to be Richie. It is Richie. There it is. Good call, Garrett. So Richie has been announced as the starter there. The money is coming in on Washington. I still agree. I would play Washington in the first 5 here. I still think they have a starting pitching edge there with Cavalli, and I think they have the motivational edge. There's no way you can back Washington's bullpen, but we have 64% of the tickets on Atlanta. It looks way too easy to play Atlanta at minus 120 something, and the price has gone down on them, so there's money. It looks like there's actual money coming in on Washington here, 81% of the cash as well. Money's also at least slightly indicating towards an over 8.5 or 9 here. I don't think I agree with that. I actually think a first 5 under might make a little more sense here based on the matchup numbers that we just saw there. Both starters might be able to do okay, I mean, that's also kind of an indicator that maybe you want to look towards a dog a dog just in general. But yeah, the dog would be Washington here. So if it's going to be a close pitching matchup, yeah, that would favor Washington as well. But yeah, I think Cavalli, I think he's better than Richie. Like, he's more established at this point. So getting him as an underdog probably in the first, I think you'll still get him as an underdog in the first 5. It would be close, maybe like a pick'em price. I think that's what I would do. Washington first 5. And the other thing is it looks way too easy to play the Braves. I think I already said that. But yeah, you get the Braves at a really cheap price here. It looks so easy to play the Braves when they've dominated the series. They got the better record, so it's like the books are almost begging you to play the Braves here, so I would not do that. Yeah, like a letdown. I don't know if I necessarily would call it a letdown, because I don't think it's that big a deal for them to beat Washington, but it's more like they're just going to overlook them in the last game, potentially. So, all right. St. Louis at Toronto is next. This has been a pretty low-scoring series so far, especially on the St. Louis side. They can't do anything offensively right now. Toronto is a bad offense, but they've been able to get a little bit done in this series. This game today, I'm not sure is going to be that low-scoring, though. In this series, St. Louis, well, they used 2 relief pitchers. St. Louis is not a good bullpen. Toronto's is better. Toronto used 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Still prefer Toronto's bullpen out of the 2. They're ranked 13th. St. Louis is 22nd. Both offenses are ranked pretty poorly. St. Louis is, where are they at? 26th. Toronto's 29th. So they're above Cleveland, at least right now, but that's not saying much. ESPN has Michael McGreevy listed as the starter here, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Liberatore. Yeah, so St. Louis made a pitching change there. Does that mean McGreevy's getting traded? I have no idea. We got to watch it, man. Watch the trade deadline here. Sometimes weird things happen. Maybe that means McGreevy is going to be traded. I don't know. Don't know where to. I mean, his name would suggest that he should be on the Red Sox, but I don't necessarily want him because he is not a guy that the advanced analytics guys like. I'll put it that way. But Liberatore, I think, is the worst pitcher, though. Like, I think that's a downgrade for St. Louis here. Liberatore is not having a good season. 5.26 ERA, 1.56 WHIP is really bad. He's bad on the road. 5.77 road ERA with an opponent batting average above 300. That's not good. He's been bad in his last 2 starts. He's not pitching well. He's not very good. He's got a very high hit rate. He's way too hittable. His walk rate is somewhat okay. Gives up a pretty good amount of home runs, too. His strikeout rate is actually decent. It's right around 1 per inning. But, yeah, he's really, really hittable. Maybe the Blue Jays will be able to get some offense going here. They do have good numbers against him in 35 at-bats, 5.0 strikeout walk ratio, but all the other numbers are favoring the offense here. 314 average, 857 OPS. So I think Liberatore is probably not going to pitch well. And Toronto, why are they doing this, man? Why are they doing this? Max Scherzer is pitching for the Blue Jays here. Yeah, I mean, it's time, man. It's time. It's over for Max Scherzer. He's got a 9.49 ERA, 1.82 whip. I mean, don't do this to yourself, man. Come on. It's I don't know. It's degrading, man. He's got a 12.94 home ERA. I mean, come on. He only pitched 2 2/3 innings last time against Washington. They actually won the game, but he was very shaky again in that one. He put 7 guys on base via the hit and the walk. There's nothing to like about this, man. I know he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's got it anymore. He's got a high hit rate, a high walk rate. His strikeout rate's down. Nothing looks good to me about Scherzer here. St. Louis has actually done okay against him, but it's a small sample size. 8 at-bats, 4 hitters have faced him. They have a 250 average, 1,083 OPS because Mason Wynn does have a home run off him. 1-to-1 strikeout walk ratio. I think this game, the way to play it, I think, is probably the over, but the money's coming in on the under. I don't really understand that. 59% of tickets on the over, 52% of the cash on the under. These are shaky pitchers, man. At best, I would say. If the total's 9, that is a high total for a Blue Jays game, man. These are not elite offenses here. That total is very high for a matchup like this. Between these two offenses. So, yeah, I think the odds makers are kind of telling you something with that total. I think the over is the right way to go in that game. The money's also coming in on St. Louis. 59% of tickets on Toronto. Toronto's actually a slight favorite. The line kind of has stayed around like a pick'em price. 72% of tickets on St. Louis. So the money, or 72% of the cash, on St. Louis. So the actual money is backing St. Louis. I understand why. I mean, Scherzer looks like he's completely done, and he's probably going to get the attention of some of the public just because of his name. But, yeah, I don't see that. I mean, St. Louis might be the right side just because they're trying to avoid the sweep here, but I don't know, man. If they're selling at the trade deadline, maybe their mental state might not be quite right and whatever. But they are trying to avoid the sweep here, and you do have to look at who's Toronto playing next here. Toronto's playing Houston, so is Toronto going to look ahead to that? Maybe. I mean, Houston might draw their attention more because Houston's at least an American League team that's a contending team, so Toronto will at least have a chance to spoil Houston's season a little bit, if nothing else. But whatever, yeah. I like the over in that game. I think that's the better approach in that one. Mr. Pinsey, what's up, man? What's up, man? N712 Hockey 2, what's up? New York Post, Skubal basically ensures you're getting locked out. Yeah, I think that might be true of 2027 and 2028. I don't really understand the workings behind that, but that seems like that is actually what is going to happen to me. I don't know if it has to do with the fact that the Dodgers are just owned by this, like, the Dodgers are basically owned by this huge, like, capital firm, basically. And they're the only team that kind of is. Like, all the other teams are owned by kind of, like, more individual groups of owners. But the Dodgers are owned by this, like, conglomerate. And they have more money than the rest of Major League Baseball combined at this point, which is complete insanity. Even though I know you get, like, penalized for going over the cap and whatever, there's like a luxury tax. It's still totally ridiculous. So I think probably what we're saying here is that now that the Dodgers just got Skubal, which is pretty outrageous because now they're going to have an even more ridiculous starting pitching rotation once these injured players come back and whatever. They're the favorite to win the World Series again, obviously. Although it is baseball, they might not win it. Like, baseball's a close sport, and these high-paid teams, like these teams with the highest salaries and whatever, tend to actually not win it that much, except the Dodgers have done it recently. They've won it 2 in a row. So you usually don't get these, like, dynasties in baseball like this in the modern baseball era, but it might be happening now. And I think what we're saying is that maybe because they were able to make that trade, they were able to do that, and they're so stacked and they have so much more money than everybody else that the rest of the owners might be like, I'm not sure about this, but it might be that the rest of the owners are just getting together and being like, no, like something needs to change here. So we're not going to play baseball until something gets fixed here. So something like that might be going on. So yeah, there might not be any baseball next year, which is, it's going to make this show really awesome during the summer. let's have some WNBA handicapping here. You hate the Dodgers. I'm not a fan, obviously. I don't hate them more than the Yankees. I'm a Red Sox fan, dude. I can't hate them more than the Yankees. The Yankees are the all-time, the Yankees are the all-time most hateable team. But yeah, I can't stand the Dodgers either. So yeah, I don't like what's going on. I don't like either team. If it comes down to Yankees-Dodgers, I have to root against the Yankees. I'm a Red Sox fan, but that happened 2 years ago, right? Like, I was just like, yeah, I choose death, basically. I rooted for the Dodgers 2 years ago because there's no way I can root for the Yankees. But if that's the matchup again, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. And last year I didn't have too much rooting interest, and I don't hate the Blue Jays. So, I was kind of rooting for the Blue Jays just in my heart, I guess, last year because, fuck the Dodgers, basically. But I think I had some plays that I gave out on the Dodgers during that series, so my money interest was kind of more on the Dodgers side in the World Series last year, which that somewhat takes precedence sometimes. All right. It's weird when you bet against your rooting interests, man. Let's keep going, man. We've only done 3 games here. This next game up is another one of my plays here. Let's do this. What am I doing here? Yeah. This is another first 5 under, Arizona, Cleveland, under the 4. I found it at even money out there. I don't like the bullpens here because the bullpens just got shelled in the game yesterday. It was a 12-8 final. So even though normally I would probably leave the bullpens in with these 2 bullpens because they're not that bad, but Cleveland used 5 guys yesterday. They used like all their better relievers yesterday, except for, well, actually not all of them, but they did use their closer, Gaddis. And Holderman, very good name for a relief pitcher. A Holderman, yeah. And then Arizona, I don't know if I want to trust their bullpen right now either. They had some usage yesterday as well. They used 5 guys, so I'm just going to leave the bullpens out, narrow this down to the first 5 here. Arizona's ERA in the bullpen is up to 4.2, so I don't like that. Even though they're the 6th-ranked bullpen in WHIP, there's still something sketchy about that bullpen. Cleveland is ranked 18th, although they have the better ERA, so I like their bullpen better than Arizona's, but I'm going to leave them out in this one. We do have 2 weak offenses here, which I like. Arizona's been better recently. They're up to 20th, tied with the Red Sox here, but they're still not a very potent offense by any means, and we know Cleveland is obviously not. Cleveland is 30th, dead last in offense. And Cleveland plays a lot of under types of games at home, so I'm banking on that as well here. I know yesterday's game went way over the total at 12-8. First game of the series was only a 4-1 final, so it was a much lower scoring game in the first game of the series. I'm hearing some just completely annoying bullshit going on outside, man. What is going on? Somebody's got like some annoying like yip dog going on out, like right outside my window. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Control your fucking yip dog. Like, I don't even know what kind of, like a chihuahua. I fucking hate chihuahuas, dude. They are the worst breed, if that's what it is. They're so fucking annoying. I'm gonna like drop kick that shit. Fuck. God, it's so, dude, you can't hear it in my mic, I know, but it's so annoying right now. I can't believe how annoying this is. Just, like, walk away from my house or something. Get away. Yeah, I mean, I hate living this close to a street. All right. What am I talking about? I don't even know. Oh, yeah. These starting pitchers here. Arizona's going with Merrill Kelly here. I know he's had a bad season, but he's pitched better recently. So I'm gonna still back him here. I know his numbers are bad, 4.86 ERA, 1.45 WHIP, but I told you I didn't think Merrill Kelly was done yet. Like, I know he's old, but he's not a guy that's ever relied on velocity. He's had a solid career, so I didn't think he was just completely falling off a cliff like this. And there are some things to like about Kelly here. He's actually been way better on the road this year, 3.92 road ERA. So he's definitely backable on the road, and he's been pretty good over the last month or so. His ERA in July was 1.95. So has definitely started regaining some form here. In his last outing, he didn't give up any earned runs at Pittsburgh. That's a good sign. That's a good offense. That's a really good offense at home, and he shut them down. So Kelly is pitching well right now. Cleveland is a much weaker offense than Pittsburgh here, and he's got good numbers against Cleveland, really good. In 48 at-bats, they have no extra base hits against them, 11 strikeouts, 2 walks, 146 average, 326 OPS. So Merrill Kelly has kind of dominated Cleveland's bats here. So we'll back him, and obviously we're going to back Gavin Williams on the other side here. Gavin Williams has been pitching basically at an elite level recently. He's got a 3.71 ERA, 1.07 whip. He's good at home, 3.09 home ERA. So we have the better home road stats. Look at what this guy's done recently. Double-digit strikeouts in 4 starts in a row, and his strikeout walk ratio in July, 51-4 with a 31 and 2/3 innings. That is madness, dude. That is insane. He's blowing batters away right now. This is ridiculous. So yeah, I'm gonna back Williams here as well. He's not getting a lot of run support, but that's good if you're backing the under. Yeah, fuck it. We want Cleveland to not score. He's got a really low hit rate here. He's really difficult to hit. He gives up a lot of home runs. I think it's just that he just throws these hard pitches, and if anybody connects with them, they send it out of the yard, which I know that could spoil an under like this when we have not much leeway in the first 5, but I still think he's going to get the job done here. His walk rate's fairly low. His strikeout rate obviously is quite high. And against Arizona, he's been good in the past. In 22 at-bats, 227 average. They have no extra base hits against him. 519 OPS. 6-2 strikeout walk ratio. So I like how this pitching matchup sets up here. I would probably go full game if the bullpens were reasonably rested at all, but they are not. So we'll go first 5 on this, and the money seems to agree with me on this one as well. Full game total is 8. We have 53% of the tickets on the over, 74% of the cash on the under. So the money backing the under, I like to see that. And the other thing I like to see is the money looks like it's coming in on the Arizona side, but part of that is because this line is skyrocketed. Like Cleveland's in the minus 160s here. I know Williams is really good right now, but Cleveland being favored by that much is absurd. Like, their offense is so weak that they really should not be favored like this in the minus 160. So the money looks like it is coming in on Arizona. 74% of tickets, 73% of the cash on Cleveland. So Cleveland's a public side with money backing Arizona, and I like to see that as an under player here. If the money's coming in on the worst of the two pitchers, that you like to see that. The professional money's putting some stock in the worst of the two pitchers because that means they seem to think that pitcher is going to pitch pretty well. Like it's more of a play on that pitcher, in my opinion, and less of a fade of the better pitcher because, like, we know that Williams is good, so we're not necessarily fading him if we're taking the underdog here, right? So, yeah, that's how I look at that game. But, yeah, I like it. First 5 under. I like how the money seems to line up with me on that one. So, yeah, let's do that as well. All right. Conflicted in the World Series. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I probably said that. I don't know. I don't like LA or Canada. Yeah, that's right. LA is probably worse. I don't know. I've been to both places. I don't know, but LA, I'm not a fan of LA, man. I am not. I've had some fun in LA, but I don't know. It is not my thing. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about that. White Sox in Tampa Bay. We're already past the half-hour mark, and I've only gone through like 4 games. This is really bad. I have to get this done, man. This is bad. Tampa Bay won the game yesterday, 1-0. Drew Rasmussen pitched really well again. Noah Schultz did come in. I told you I thought it was going to be Schultz yesterday. Schultz pitched well in the game yesterday when he came in relief, or came in after an opener or whatever. Maybe a good sign for Schultz, but we're going to handicap this game here today. Let me make sure. Yeah, I was going to say Cleveland. I don't know if I would actually fade Cleveland, by the way. Back to that Cleveland series real quick. Cleveland's on the verge of getting swept, so I don't know if I would necessarily want to fade Cleveland there. You know, like they might have extra motivation. They're trying to avoid the sweep. Arizona, I don't know what they really have to play for at this point. They're playing San Diego next. I mean, I guess, well, Arizona, actually, never mind. Arizona's actually in the thick of it right now. They're in the wild card hunt right now. So Arizona does still have stuff to play for, but maybe they look ahead to their divisional series against San Diego. The game against Cleveland doesn't matter as much to them, I don't think, versus the San Diego series at least. Anyway, White Sox, Tampa Bay here. Where was I going to begin? With the bullpen usage, I guess. White Sox used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. Tampa Bay used 4, but Tampa Bay has been the somewhat better bullpen. Tampa Bay is ranked 3rd. Their ERA is below 4 at this point. Pretty solid bullpen there. The White Sox not bad either at 14th, though. So these are both decent bullpens here. Tampa Bay has been the better offense slightly at 10th. White Sox are 16th. I still don't know if I buy that Tampa's offense is actually that good. They're going up against Anthony Kay here. He's not good for the White Sox. 4.25 ERA, 1.36 WHIP. He's bad on the road, 5.56 road ERA. Kay is just, I don't know how he's doing what he's doing because he's not really that good of a pitcher. His walk rate's kind of high here. He pitched well last time out against the Yankees. They wound up losing the game, but he didn't pitch poorly there. He's got a hit rate that's below 1 per inning, not too bad. His walk rate's a bit high, though. Strikeout rate is low. He doesn't strike anybody out. He's better than I thought he would be. That's what I'll give you, but I still don't think he's very good. Tampa Bay has been able to hit him. They have 20 at-bats against him, a 300 average, 912 OPS, 3 strikeouts and 6 walks. 4 of those from Diaz, though. But yeah, Kay has not done that well against Tampa. Tampa's going with Griffin Jax here, who's been the better of the 2 pitchers. Jax, 3.74 ERA, 1.23 WHIP, not too bad here. He's been better at home, so the home road splits definitely favor him here. 3.4 home ERA. He's pitched pretty well in his last couple starts, had a lot of strikeouts in his last start. Had a bad start a couple starts before that. Well, I don't know if it was necessarily bad. He gave up a bunch of runs against the Red Sox, but he kind of got unlucky in that everybody that reached base scored against him, and he also had no run support behind him in that game. Jax has also worked out of the bullpen quite a bit this year, earlier in the season. He's got a low hit rate here. His walk rate is reasonable, not too bad. His strikeout rate is actually pretty high. So Jax, he's the more talented of the 2 pitchers involved in this game today. However, the White Sox have done some damage against him in 25 at-bats, 320 average, 890 OPS, 6-2 strikeout walk ratio. Yeah, I'm thinking probably over is the way to look at this one. The total's really low at 7.5. That seems too low to me, although I know you don't want to try to tell the odds makers that they fucked up. You know what I mean? Because usually they do not. They're not handing you money here. They're not just going, here's a 7.5 in a game with bad pitching. They're not doing that. But to me, I don't know, man. I mean, I still think the over might be the way to play this one. 53% of tickets, 54% of the cash on the over. The money's back in Tampa Bay as well. I don't really disagree with that. I mean, Tampa at home, it's a rare situation when I'd fade them. I know I did not too long ago. I faded Tampa when they were in a return home spot against Cam Schlittler, and we got Schlittler as an underdog. That was a winner here on the show. We had to do that, though. 77% of tickets, 91% of the cash on Tampa Bay. They're around minus 160 or so here. Yeah, I mean, I still think Jax is the better pitcher here. Tampa debatably has the better bullpen. If you're going to play Tampa, it's going to be like a -1 run line situation or something like that probably in the full game. But I think I prefer the over, even though I don't like to go over low totals because it always looks way too easy. But, yeah, I think that would be my lean there is over 7.5. Nancy, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. All right. Full house this morning, everybody. Everywhere you look. We got listeners in the chat. All right. Miami and the Mets. I don't even know if I want to talk about this series, although we did get a win on the show with the under in the first game of the series. Tried to go with the Mets yesterday, and that didn't work out. So the Mets are now 1-2 in the series here. Seems like the Mets are about to trade Freddie Peralta, although that still hasn't happened, but they pulled him from his scheduled start in this series 2 days ago. Miami still has kind of something to play for here. So even though Miami's won the last 2 games, I don't necessarily know if I want to fade them here. Miami is still kind of in the wild card hunt, even though they went on that really bad stretch. But obviously Miami's playing better again recently. Miami used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. The Mets used 3. These bullpens are both decent or good, I guess. Miami's ranked 5th. The Mets are ranked 7th. I don't think either of them are that good, but they're both good enough bullpens, I would say. Miami is the 8th ranked offense. I still struggle to believe that, really. I don't think they're quite that good. The Mets obviously have not been good. They're 28th offensively, which has been their downfall this season pretty much, although their starting pitching hasn't really been very good either. Speaking of which, Miami has the upper hand in the pitching here with Sandy Alcantara pitching here. He's having a decent season here, man. I mean, he wasn't pitching as well after he had his injury issues and whatever, but he is having a good season given his limitations here. 3.82 ERA, 1.21 whip. That's not bad. He's been worse on the road, though. 4.66 road ERA, so not really a guy you necessarily want to back on the road. He pitched really well last time out at home, shutting out Philadelphia for 7 innings. One thing you could say about him is he's going deep into these outings, man. He's not really walking anybody right now. He's looked pretty good over the last month or so, really over the last couple months. He's got a reasonably low hit rate at this point. His walk rate is low. He's got a lot of innings here. He's a grinder. His strikeout rate is way down from what it once was earlier in his career, though. Again, I think his velocity is just not there anymore, but he's definitely figured out how to pitch effectively again anyway, though. Numbers against the Mets here are pretty good in 73 at-bats, 233 average, 656 OPS, 10-4 strikeout walk ratio. Lindor really hits him well, and Semien also does, but everybody else in the lineup struggles against him pretty much. Now, I don't know exactly what to think about this because some of those numbers were back when he was better than he is now, but he is having a pretty good season right now, so I lean more towards him pitching well than not here. And the Mets, remember what I talked about with Atlanta, is that the Mets and Atlanta played a doubleheader 5 days ago, so they used 2 different starters on those days or whatever, or went with a bullpen game and one of them, whatever. So they're off schedule right now. Like Manaea would be the next guy to come pitch for the Mets here. But if they pitch Manaea here, he's on short rest. So I don't know what the Mets are doing here. They have Robert Stock, not Robert Stack. If you have any information, contact Unsolved Mysteries, Burbank, California, whatever. Robert Stack. I almost said Robert Stack. I picked the wrong day to stop sniffing glue. If people have seen Airplane, he's in that as well. One of the best movies of all time. Robert Stock is the opener for the Mets here, or I don't know what the Mets are doing here, man. They might use Manaea, even though he's on short rest. They might not. I don't want to trust what the Mets are doing here, man. Miami is favored, though, which is interesting because the Mets have been favored in every other game in the series. So now the odds makers are like, yeah, the Mets are no longer favored here. And a lot of handicappers will look at that and say, well, that means there's going to be value on the Mets here because that's too much of a shift when you go from the Mets being a favorite in every game to the Mets being an underdog now. But I don't see how you could really back the Mets here. I just don't. Even though the money looks like it agrees with the Mets here. 76% of tickets, 66% of the cash on Miami. Miami has to have the edge here with Alcantara against a bullpen game. The line's gone down a little bit. It looks maybe too cheap of a price. That scares me, man. It looks way too easy to play the Marlins here, but I think that's probably my lean is the Marlins in that game. I want nothing to do with the Mets with whatever the hell they're doing there. Even if it is Manaea, that doesn't really do that much for me. I mean, I can look at his numbers real quick. Is he in their starting rotation? Yeah, he is. Let me see. Manaea against the Marlins, he's bad. So that just reinforces it. Like, if Manaea is going to come into this game, yeah, I would still back Miami here. And what I would say is I would pick no listed starter for the Mets. I would pick Alcantara must start for Miami, but I would not pick a starter for the Mets. You have no idea what they're doing. Like, is Stock actually going to start? I have no fucking clue. So, yeah, that's how I would play that game is Alcantara must start. Mets action, I would take the Marlins, but there are a lot of market indicators that you should not be doing that, so I'm not going to do it. Yes, Airplane, one of the best. Just, it's such like quick hitting joke after joke. It's so crazy. You have to watch it multiple times to even get every joke because it's just so rapid fire. Yes. J Main, what's up? Thanks for coming back. Robert Stock. I mean, he's a relief pitcher, and he's really old at this point. So as long as you're not saying that, if you're saying that about Robert Stack, I'll come fight you. Yes. I don't want the Mets there, man. I mean, the market read is on the Mets. Maybe I have no balls, but I don't want to do that. It looks like it's a huge pitching edge towards Miami, so why would I want to do that? This next game up almost made the cut for me. Pirates, Reds. I like the first 5 under in this one. I hate the bullpens, of course. The Reds have won 2 out of the 3 games of the series so far. Pittsburgh won the game yesterday. The Reds beat Paul Skeens during the series. They didn't beat Braxton Ashcraft yesterday. I think he pitched yesterday. He's good. The Reds used 4 relief pitchers. They're not a good bullpen, so I would not back their bullpen. Pittsburgh used 2. They're not a good bullpen either, so I wouldn't want to back them either. They're 24th and 25th in bullpen, Pirates and Reds, respectively. Not good. Pirates are obviously the better offense. They're ranked 3rd, although they're not quite as good on the road. Cincinnati, 22nd. Cincinnati having some major offensive issues. Some talk about them trading some of their bats here, too. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Mitch Keller is getting the start for Pittsburgh. He's been mediocre this season. He was good at the beginning of the season, then he was bad for a while. Now he's starting to pitch a little bit better again. He's got a 4.83 ERA, 1.31 whip. He's pretty good on the road, though. 3.99 road ERA, 226 opponent batting average. So he might be backable on the road. And he's been good in his last 2 starts at the very least. And one was on the road against the Yankees. So that's a decent sign that he's been able to pitch well against a good line. Well, do we consider the Yankees to be good anymore offensively? I don't know. I guess that's another question. They've been bad on offense for a while now. So I don't know, but I still think that's a good sign for Keller, and he pitched well again the start after that against Arizona. Keller, he's got a hit rate that's a little bit below 1 per inning, which is all right. His walk rate is okay. His strikeout rate is definitely low. He doesn't really strike guys out. He's been good against the Reds, though, in 143 at-bats. We have a huge sample here. 189 average, 583 OPS. You usually do not see a batting average that low in that big of a sample size. So the Reds have not really been able to hit Keller. 35 strikeouts, 14 walks. It's just a low strikeout rate there. He doesn't really strike guys out, so that ratio looks pretty bad, but it's because of the low strikeout rate there. Chase Burns is pitching for Cincinnati, so that's also good for Cincinnati. He's been really good. 2.4 ERA, 1.12 whip. He's been slightly better at home as well. 2.28 home ERA with a sub 200 opponent batting average. He gave up 5 runs last time out against Cleveland, which you might think looks bad, but only one of them was earned. We got screwed in that game. I think I gave out an under in that game or something. Absolutely got screwed there. The fielding was just totally miserable behind Burns in that game. It was not Burns' fault that they lost that game. Burns has had some walk issues recently, but he's still a really good pitcher. He's got a really low hit rate. He's been really difficult to hit. His walk rate is still decent. Strikeout rate is high. So, yeah, his overall number is still good. He really still doesn't put too many guys on base, especially because he's very difficult to hit. And the Pirates have not been able to do that. In 52 at-bats, they have not been able to hit him. 21 strikeouts, 3 walks, 212 average, 581 OPS. So, yeah, I like the first 5 under in this one. I like both starting pitchers, how they match up here. I don't like the bullpens at all. So I would take them out of the equation. Full game total is at 8.5. The money seems to back the under here. 68% of the tickets, 88% of the cash on the under. First 5 is what I would do. That one, you could probably find a 4.5 on it. I'm scared off of it a little bit by not fully trusting Keller, and also Pittsburgh's offense may be able to get something going here. They're a dangerous offense for sure. So the unders that I've given out so far are against less dangerous offenses at the very least. So I don't know, man, but I still like it. This one was very close to being on my card. First 5 under in Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. So I do like that one. All right. Texas and Houston. Houston is on the verge of a sweep here. This is a big series. Houston came into the series a half game behind Texas. Now they're up 1.5 games. So Texas might come out with a little bit of extra motivation here to try to get something in the series. They do not want to get swept in the series if they want to try to, they'll still be in the race, but this would be bad for them, obviously, if they get swept. Is Houston going to look ahead to Toronto? Probably not. So I think Houston will still show up in the series because it is still a big matchup here, and that's kind of the problem. The problem I have with Texas is that I don't think Houston's going to totally lack motivation here, and I don't like the pitching matchup for Texas here. I think the pitching matchup favors Houston, and Houston debatably might have the better bullpen here too, although they used 5 relief pitchers yesterday, which is not good. Texas used 4. It's weird to say, but Texas bullpen, they've been struggling. They're at 19th right now. Houston is 15th. So Houston might have a little bit of a bullpen advantage here. I think they have a bigger starting pitching edge, and they have an offensive edge. Houston is 7th. Texas is 17th. Starting pitching, Kumar Rocker is pitching for Texas. He's been pitching well over his last couple starts. He's got okay numbers here, 4.03 ERA, 1.29 whip. He's actually a little bit better on the road ERA-wise, 3.6 road ERA, although his opponent batting average is worse on the road. And it kind of would make sense that he'd be better at home because we know Texas's stadium is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, but whatever. He's debatably better on the road. He was good in his last 2 starts after he got lit up in his start prior to that. He pitched well. 1 hit shutout the White Sox at home, though, and then he had another good home start against Seattle. However, his last bad start, the start before those 2, guess who that was against? That was against Houston at home, and Houston lit him up. He also faced Houston back in May and did not do that well in that start either. Looks like he's not that good against Houston, although overall he's got a reasonably low hit rate. I mean, he has a low hit rate here, His walk rate's reasonably low as well. His strikeout rate is not too high, but I mean, he's just not a huge strikeout pitcher. Against Houston, though, as I was alluding to, he has not done well. In 42 at-bats, 286 average, 976 OPS, 10-3 strikeout walk ratio. Ratio's good, but the rest of those numbers not good, so I don't think I trust Rocker here. Houston's going with Peter Lambert, who has resurrected his career this season. Lambert's been good, 3.06 ERA, 1.15 whip. He's been almost the same home and away, not really big, not significant splits here. ERA is slightly worse at home at 3.15. Lambert had a good month of July. He allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in every start in July, and he did it in all but 1 start in June, too. Lambert's pitching well here, man. Good command numbers in July as well. Overall numbers, low hit rate. I mean, he's been hard to hit. His walk rate is slightly high, but combined with the hit rate, still pretty good here. Not putting a lot of guys on base. Strikeout rate is close to 1 per inning, which is not bad. Numbers against Texas are not so good, though. In 55 at-bats, 255 average, 892 OPS allowed, though. 12.6 strikeout walk ratio, but 5 of the 6 walks are Jock Peterson, who actually doesn't hit him that well, but has 2 home runs and 5 walks against him, but his average isn't that good. I hate this Windows thing where when you click on the header, it expands the screen. I like to keep it. I have an ultra-wide monitor, so I like to keep the window narrower because it looks better when I share the screen, but whatever. What do we do with this game, man? I mean, both pitchers really don't have good matchup numbers here, so I wouldn't really disagree with an over, and I don't really like the bullpens either, and you could go over 8.5 here. So it looks like you'll be able to get the over a number that's below that key number of 9. 74% of the tickets, 86% of the cash on the over. Yeah, that might be the best recommendation I have in this one. I lean Houston as well. I think Lambert is better than Rocker. I don't know about the bullpens. Maybe Houston first 5, but you probably have to pay a price for that. Houston has moved up, so it looks like some actual money has come in on Houston to drive them up from -126 to -140 or so here. 71% of tickets, 84% of the cash on the Astros. I think, first 5, maybe your best advantage, although I think Houston might have a bullpen edge too, so maybe you could go full game on it, depending on what the price is. I don't really love playing on teams that are on the verge of a sweep, though, because I think the other team's going to have extra motivation, so I don't know. I think maybe the over might be the better approach there. Yankees and Cubs, they've split the series as well. The Cubs were able to get the win yesterday, 5-2, even though I think the Cubs had a better pitching matchup in game 1, and they lost that game, but then won yesterday. Yankees really struggling offensively here, man. 2 runs each in these 2 games here, although if you remember yesterday, the wind was blowing in Wrigley yesterday, or was that I think that was yesterday, right? Yeah. So the total was extremely low in the game. Yes. Oh, it was David Peterson. David Peterson pitched for the Cubs, and I think he must have gotten them the win yesterday. It's laughable, man. It is so laughable. You got to be kidding me. The Cubs used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. Yankees have the better bullpen. They used 4. Yankees have a very good bullpen. They're ranked number 4, but they're second in ERA behind the Red Sox. Cubs are not bad in the bullpen. They're 16th, but their ERA is all right, below 4 at least. Yankees' offense is really fallen off. They're 15th right now. They've legitimately been a bad offense without Judge, which I didn't think was the case for a while, but yeah, I mean, the numbers bear that out for now, though. This Yankees offense is still dangerous to me, though. Like, I think they could still just unload on you at any given time. I don't know, even without Judge. Cubs are ranked 4th in offense, though. They've been a strong offense. Cubs are definitely a decent team. Of course, both teams are in the playoff mix here. Obviously, the Yankees will definitely make the playoffs. Starting pitching here looks like it's a big mismatch in favor of the Yankees, but you look at the price on this, and it looks pretty easy to play the Yankees, even though you got to say they clearly have the better starter here. Garrett Cole is pitching for the Yankees. He's still pitching well. 3.57 ERA, 1.09 whip. He's been a little bit worse on the road, 3.86 road ERA. His opponent batting average is significantly worse on the road, though, at 271 compared to 186 at home. So he is worse on the road, but he's still pretty good. He pitched well in his last start on the road, also in Chicago. The Yankees have been in Chicago for a while. That was against the White Sox. He's been good. Like, the whole month of July, he was really good. 39-4 strikeout walk ratio after he was a little bit rough in June. But yeah, Cole is obviously pitching well again. He's found himself. He pitched against a lot of pretty good offenses in that stretch in July, and he shut basically all of them down. So he's been pitching well. He's got a low hit rate, low walk rate, pretty high strikeout rate. Good numbers across the board for him. Numbers against the Cubs are also good in 57 at-bats, 211 average, 676 OPS, 16-2 strikeout walk ratio. So, yeah, the signs are that Cole should pitch well here. Colin Ray is pitching for the Cubs. He's obviously the lesser pitcher. He's not very good. 7.7, that would be really bad. 4.67 ERA, at least that's more palatable. 1.4 whip is not very good, though. He's been reasonably good at home, though. 3.33 home ERA. He's legitimately better at home, so he's in the better of his home road splits, and Cole is not. Ray, pretty good last time out against St. Louis, although he's not really striking anybody out. But he's been okay recently, at least good enough that he's not, like, killing his team here. He's got still kind of a high hit rate here. His walk rate's not too bad. Kind of gives up a lot of home runs, which is not great. He's a bit fly ball heavy. Strikeout rate is low. He doesn't really strike anybody out. Against the Yankees, though, believe it or not, he has good numbers against them. In 43 at-bats, he's held them to a 186 average, 604 OPS, 8.4 strikeout walk ratio, which is not good, but the rest of those numbers are good. So Ray might actually pitch okay here. This maybe could be an under, but the problem with that is this is another wind blowing in game in Wrigley. I mean, this is ridiculous with Colin Ray on the mound. The total is 6.5. I mean, again, what can you do with that? And by the way, yesterday's game landed 7. So if you tried to go under the 6.5, yep, it landed on the key number, even though the key number wasn't necessary in the game yesterday because it was a 5-2 final. But yeah, the game snuck over the total yesterday. 6.5, I'm telling you, man, it's just, there's just no room for any error there. Yeah, I can't do it, but I would lean towards an under in this one. 78% of tickets, 92% of the cash on the over, but both pitchers look like they match up okay here. One is actually good, and the bullpens are both pretty decent, or decent or good. So yeah, I still think an under is in consideration here. It's just, I don't know, man. If you can't find a 7, I'm not going to be doing it. And the money's also backing the Cubs, which I find to be ridiculous. 71% of the tickets on the Yankees, 74% of the cash on the Cubs. It's about the value, I'm pretty sure. And it's like, oh, well, you know that you're going to pay a tax for the Yankees. They're a road favorite because Garrett Cole is on the mound, and it's the Yankees. But Cole is obviously better than Colin Ray. So would I want to jump in and play the Cubs here? No. I think the Yankees have the edge throughout the game, throughout the pitching. So I would lean towards the Yankees in that one. But the fact that the money's coming in towards Colin Ray there kind of indicates that the professionals do kind of like the game to be lower scoring because, again, lower scoring is going to help out the underdog, going to help the underdog stay in that game a little bit longer. So those are my thoughts on it. That's not a game I'm going to be wanting to deal with, though. All right. What time is it? Oh, all right. Yeah, actually, we've gotten back on track here. I'm burning through these games now. Kansas City, Colorado. This is an ugly, ugly series. Colorado's on the verge of a sweep. They won in a very high-scoring game yesterday. I was wrong about that. I thought the starters might do okay yesterday. That was not the case. So Kansas City finally put up some runs in one of these hitter-friendly ballparks, though Colorado put up more runs and won 12-6 yesterday. Now, Colorado's on the verge of a sweep here. Maybe Kansas City has some extra effort here. Colorado's going to be playing Tampa Bay next. Maybe they consider that to be bigger. They should. I mean, who cares about Kansas City? Sorry, Zach. But Colorado, they've won the series. Maybe they start looking ahead to Tampa Bay. I don't know. Colorado doesn't have a whole lot to play for at this point. Both bullpens here are bad, so I would avoid the bullpens. Colorado used 3 relief pitchers. Kansas City used 4. I don't really care what the usage was. I don't like these bullpens at all. Colorado's 27th. Kansas City is 30th, although the A's still have the worst bullpen ERA, but Kansas City is second worst. Hitting-wise, Colorado's been pretty good. They're 5th, and Kansas City is 18th. So these offenses are definitely capable of producing runs here, and it's going to be another high total here, especially because the bullpens suck. But also the pitching isn't really that good, although I think the better of the 2 starters here is Seth Lugo, who's pitching for the Royals. Advanced analytics guys loathe Seth Lugo, but he's been all right. 4.22 ERA, 1.37 whip. He's been not as good on the road, though. 4.97 road ERA, and maybe that's not a good sign pitching in Coors Field here. And his opponent batting average on the road is almost 300. He's been pretty good recently, though. His last 3 starts have all been good. He's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in all of them, although they're mostly against somewhat weaker offenses, except he pitched well against the Twins on the road last time out, and that's not a totally weak offense there. So, yeah, Lugo looks like he's at least in okay form right now, but his hit rate is kind of high on the season. His walk rate is mediocre. His strikeout rate is kind of low. Doesn't really strike anybody out. For Coors Field, you got to know how many home runs does he allow. Well, he's a little bit home run conducive. He's allowed 15 in 123 and 2/3 innings. That's not awful, but it's not great. And he is kind of a fly ball pitcher, but not too bad. But, yeah, he is more fly ball heavy than ground ball heavy. Let's put it that way. Against Colorado, though, he's been good generally in 53 at-bats, 16-3 strikeout walk ratio, 226 average, 677 OPS. So Lugo, he's been good against Colorado. At least he might be able to do enough to maybe get Kansas City through at least when he's pitching here. Kyle Freeland is pitching for the Rockies. Not good. 7.34 ERA, 1.55 whip. He's better at home, though, believe it or not, which is still bad. 6.33 home ERA. So that's still not good. He's not been pitching well recently. He's definitely struggled. He's had a good command ratio here in the month of July, or he did in the month of July, but he still was giving up a lot of runs because he's way too hittable. That's his problem. His hit rate is insanely high. Like, it's got to be one of the highest hit rates in Major League Baseball. He's allowing way more than 1 hit per inning. It's ridiculous. And he allows a lot of home runs. Since he allows that many hits, he's also a pretty extreme fly ball pitcher, and he allows a lot of home runs. His home run rate is worse than Seth Lugo's, and his strikeout rate's not really that good either. His walk rate is okay. He doesn't really walk that many guys, but when you're that hittable, it doesn't matter. Like, he's just serving up batting practice, basically, which is not good. And Kansas City has done okay against him in 44 at-bats, 318 average, although they haven't really hit him for that much power, 727 OPS, 5.0 strikeout walk ratio. But I think the way to play this game is the Royals in the first 5. I would back Lugo over Freeland here. The money seems to agree with that, and you're probably going to get them at a little bit of an underdog price, believe it or not. Hilarious. The Rockies, the Colorado Rockies are a favorite. Man, the odds makers are really disrespecting Kansas City here, because I thought that they had Colorado as the worst team in baseball, but some of it might be because of their offensive advantage, but this is ridiculous that they've moved up from -112 to around -130. Yeah, I would take Kansas City in the first 5. You'll probably get them at a slight underdog price. It's probably not going to be as big of an underdog price and maybe close to a pick 'em, but I think that's the way to look at this game is Royals first 5. 54% of tickets, 79% of the cash on Kansas City, so that agrees with me. The full game total is 11.5 or 12, with money coming in pretty strongly on the over. I mean, I don't have a great read there on the total. I mean, there are more indicators towards an over than an under, I would say. And both pitchers give up some fly balls here. Both bullpens suck. At least one of the starting pitchers really just serves it up, which is Freeland. So, yeah, there are probably more indicators of an over than an under there. But, man, that is a high total. And if it's that high, I want every piece of it to be in line with it. Rockies have already won more games this year than last year. I mean, they've been somewhat competitive in some of these games against some of the better teams, but I don't think this does not look like a good matchup for them to me. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, those are my thoughts on that. I'll be right back, and then I'll do the rest of this. I have one more baseball play, I think, and one more game that I almost put on my card, and then WNBA, there are 4 games. I don't have anything in the WNBA here today, though I'm treading a bit lightly, I know, with the WNBA. I'm trying to be selective, man. I just don't see a great angle, really, in the WNBA, but I'll talk about those games anyway, obviously. I'll be right back. Yep, inside, I want to kill myself. We are on an 0-7 run over the last 2 days. After tonight, it was just complete bullshit. So that's how I'm going to start off this show. Horrible Sunday, 1-5. I don't even know what to tell you about that. I just don't want to do this anymore. I've never seen anything like this, man. With the slump continuing, 2 straight losses, not a good day at all. 0-4. I just have not had a good season, man. What can this slump that I'm on? The slump continues. I've reached a new peak, actually. I'm going to burn my Bruins hat, man. I don't know what is going on with the Bruins. March 8th, is that what it is? I don't even know. It's March 9th, I think. Who even knows, man? I don't know what day it is anymore. I don't even know what day it is anymore, man. Back with you after the worst day that I could possibly have. Back with you, as I always am. Until I die, at least. 0-2 yesterday, and yesterday did not go well for me. 0-5. The worst month that I've ever had in my 18 years doing this. I don't know what to even tell you about this anymore. Broke the slump yesterday as the slump discontinues. The slump continues. Somebody fucking kill me, please. I don't even know what I should do at this point other than potentially end it all. All right. Next game on the schedule is, my last play, it looks like. Milwaukee and Angels. Yeah, let's do it. This one, I couldn't find a better number on this, but I like the first 5 under here. This will be on my card. Under 3.5 at even money. I could look again, but the 4 was just too heavily priced. It was like minus 138 or something. If it was like minus 130, I might consider it because I kind of like that extra half run between 3.5 and 4. You could go full game on this under 7.5 if you want to. I wouldn't necessarily disagree. Actually, I don't even see a 4 at all. I just see 3.5s plastered across the board. But I like the under here. The problem is I don't like Anaheim's bullpen. I just don't want to deal with them. So I'm going to go first 5 under and hope that it gets there for us here. I like the starting pitching here, obviously. Anaheim used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. I don't like their bullpen. I do like Milwaukee's. They used 3. They did use their closer, though, Miguel. They've used him 2 days in a row, although not for too many pitches, but he's probably not going to be available today. Milwaukee has won both games in the series, by the way. So we can talk about the side here as well. Milwaukee is 12th in bullpen. They're definitely the better bullpen. The Angels are not, like, pitiful, but they're 21st, and I don't really trust their bullpen much. Offensively, the Brewers are the better team as well. They are 6th, so we are dealing with one good offense here. Anaheim is not good at 24th, and their offense is not good at home either. This game is on Peacock, by the way. But you can see what I'm doing here with this under here. I like both of these starting pitchers. Jacob Misiorowski, yeah, we know. This guy's like basically untouchable. 1.58 ERA, 0.75 whip is insane. He's been basically as good on the road, 1.66 road ERA. He's sometimes doesn't go that deep into these outings, though, because he's just striking everybody out and throwing a lot of pitches. Although they actually limited his pitches a little bit in his last couple of starts. So He'll definitely make you. I think he'll make it through 5 here, though. I mean, it's rare that he doesn't. Like, I don't know why he got pulled after 4 in that game against the Mets. If there was, I don't know, like an injury concern or rain. I don't know what was going on there, but he bounced back and he had a ton of strikeouts last time out against Colorado. His strikeout walk ratio in July, 39-1. Is a 39 strikeout walk ratio good? Yeah, I mean, it's so insane. He's got a really low hit rate. He's one of the most unhittable pitchers in baseball. His walk rate's not even high. So usually guys like him at least have some wildness, which he did last year, but he doesn't really have that issue either. He's got a ton of strikeouts. I mean, he's the best pitcher in baseball. And Anaheim's never faced him before, so good luck to their offense, because you know that's an advantage to the starting pitcher when the offense has never seen him before, especially when it's the best pitcher in baseball, and this offense isn't even that good. So it would shock me if Misiorowski doesn't burn through this Anaheim lineup here. And we're also going to back Ureña again on the other side. I think he's pretty good, man. He's really young still. I think he's going to turn into something pretty good if he hasn't already. He's got good numbers here anyway. 2.7 ERA, 1.26 whip is a little bit iffy because he walks too many guys, but he seems to be getting that under control a little bit, and he's been pretty good at home with a 186 opponent batting average at home, although his ERA is a little bit higher at home at 2.77, but that doesn't worry me much. We backed him in the first 5, I think, in his last game, right? And we got that right, and then the bullpen blew it. So again, I don't trust this bullpen here, but I'm pretty sure we won on the first 5 against Houston last time he pitched. He pitched well in that game before the bullpen screwed him over. He's pitched well really throughout the last month. He's been good, except his walk rate was high at the beginning of, well, really throughout the season, his walk rate's been high, but his first 2 starts in July, it was bad. But his walk rate went way down in his last 2 starts, so he seems like maybe he's in a little bit better form right now, getting that walk rate under control a little bit. Overall in the season, he's been very difficult to hit. His hit rate's low. His walk rate is high, I admit. Like, that's his one problem is the walks. He's got a lot of ground ball outs, though. He doesn't really allow a lot of home runs or anything like that at all. His strikeout rate, I'd like to see be a little bit higher. It's not bad, but yeah, I mean, he still has the ability to strike guys out. And the other thing I like here, though, is that Milwaukee has never faced him before. So we have 2 talented young pitchers here going at it. That sounds pretty hot. And the offenses have never seen either one of them. So I think that's an extra advantage to both pitchers. So I had to find a way to throw this on the card, man. And the money agrees with me. The money agrees with me on all of these unders that I'm giving out as either plays or leans here. 55% of tickets on the over, 86% of the cash on the under. Yeah, we'll take it full. We'll take it first 5. I worry too much about Anaheim's bullpen, man. If you want to do it full game, you could. I mean, I'm not going to disagree with it full game. I just think this is where you have the biggest advantage is when the starters are on the mound. But it's 7.5, so you do get under that key number 7.5 in the full game. Anaheim's bullpen could just blow the whole thing, though. That's the thing. I don't expect Milwaukee's to blow it. Their bullpen's good, although, again, their closer is probably unavailable here. For the side, Milwaukee is just laying way too much of a price. Minus 230. I mean, I know Anaheim's not got much to play for here, but Milwaukee's, they already got a big lead in their division. This series doesn't mean much to Milwaukee, and they've already won it. Milwaukee is, again, they're one of those teams on the verge of a sweep here. So Anaheim falls into that category where they're a home team trying to avoid a sweep here. And for Milwaukee, who do they play next? I believe they have I think it's, Pittsburgh. I was going to say, I think it's a big divisional series. Yeah, so Milwaukee might look ahead to Pittsburgh. That series matters more than this one does, and they've already won the series. So I would lean Anaheim first 5 here, man. I know that sounds insane. Like, would I really want to fade Miz here? Not really, but because it's going to be a low total, it's a low total, so it's expected to be a low-scoring game. Laying this kind of price with Milwaukee, you can't do it. I mean, there's no way. Minus 230 something. So you're going to get Anaheim as a pretty big underdog in the first 5. You might be able to take them like plus a run on the run line or something in the first 5. So I would do something like that if I was going to look at the side. I would take Anaheim to hang around in the game in the first 5 because I think the pitching could be a duel there, you know. So that's what I think about that game. Next game up is another team trying to avoid a sweep, I'm pretty sure, with the A's against Detroit. Wait, am I right about that? Yeah, Detroit's won both games in the series, 13-1 and then 8-6. So Detroit is taking advantage of this hitter's ballpark here, and we've seen some high totals again since the Red Sox are no longer in town. The A's have been having high-scoring games at home again here. The question with Detroit is, what is their mindset going to be? This was what I was alluding to early in the show, like when teams become sellers, and they're the biggest seller at the trade deadline. They traded Skubal, so that means, yeah, we're not focusing on winning this season anymore. So when that happens, a lot of times that team will go on a stretch where they won't play well. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the dream crusher, because I've been saying, well, they're not out of it. Like, they're 5.5 games out. Maybe they were thinking maybe we're still in this thing, but now that it's definitely decided, they just traded their ace pitcher away. That means they're planning on the future. So you might see Detroit be in a bad mental state for a little bit of a stretch here. And baseball is a long season, so sometimes it'll be like a little bit of a lull, and then that team will kind of find themselves again and be like, let's play well, like, you know, for the remaining stretch of the season. But right after a big trade like this happens, I think their mental state might be bad here. Plus, the A's are trying to avoid a sweep here, so I think it's not a great situation for Detroit here. I don't remember who Detroit plays next. I did bring it up. I don't think it's anybody that good, though. They're playing Seattle next, so I don't know. I don't know if that's really a look ahead. Maybe. I mean, Seattle is in the thick of it for the playoff race, just because obviously they could still win their division, and that's their path to the playoffs for Seattle. That would have been Detroit's path too, but no more Skubal. Detroit has the better bullpen here. There's no question about that. They used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. The A's have a horrible bullpen. They use 3 guys as well, but this A's bullpen, they're ranked 28th in WHIP, but they might be the worst bullpen. I mean, their ERA is 5.64. This is, like a tragically bad A's bullpen here. Detroit is better. They are ranked 17th, but their ERA is below 4, so they're not really a bad bullpen. The A's, I would say, have the better offense, but Detroit's up to 11th, tied with Minnesota and the Giants. Can the Giants just get out of here, man? I mean, I don't know what to tell you about that. The A's are 14th, but the A's have been struggling offensively recently. Now, if you want to fade Detroit here, like I was thinking, situationally, it looks like you do want to try to play the A's here based on the situation, because Detroit could be in a dream crusher scenario here. They've already won the series. Gage Jump, our favorite, is on the mound for the A's here, but I don't know if that's enough to back the A's here. And obviously, if I'm going to back the A's at all, it's going to be only in the first 5. There's no way you can back their bullpen. But Keener Montero, Mr. Slender Man on the mound for the Tigers here. 6'1", 145, as you guys pointed out yesterday. He's been good, though. 3.34 ERA, 1.02 WHIP for him. I will say that Detroit has used an opener in front of him often. So if you're going to try to play this game, you might want to just pick Gage Jump to start here. Don't pick a starter for Detroit, because Montero will pitch most likely, but whether or not he starts might be up in the air. So we'll see. But he'll either start or he'll come in after an opener. Montero was actually working out of the bullpen for a bit after he was actually pitching well in the starting rotation, but he's going to be. I'm expecting he'll start, because with Skubal now out of the rotation, Montero's probably just going to be in the rotation. But he's been back kind of in that starter's role for a few games, or a few starts now for him. Didn't really pitch well last time out against Baltimore, though. But he was good on the road against the Cubs the start before that. He's got good numbers on the season pretty much, though. Low hit rate, low walk rate, but he doesn't strike anybody out, so he doesn't fool anybody. His strikeout rate is not good, but he also doesn't really allow a lot of home runs or a lot of fly ball. Well, his fly ball rate is a little bit high, but I don't think he's that fly ball heavy or that home run conducive. So he's not horrible for a stadium like this. But we will see. Against the A's, though, he's struggled against the A's. It's a small sample, though. 7 at-bats. 6 of their hitters have faced him. 429 average, 1,071 OPS, 1-1 strikeout walk ratio, 1 extra base hit, a double from Walton. So, maybe he's a little bit untrustworthy here against the A's lineup. Gage Jump, as I said, is pitching for the A's. I think Jump is a good pitcher, but unfortunately he's having to pitch in the A's stadium, which is not a good thing. And he's been much worse at home, obviously, for obvious reasons. The stadium is horrible to pitch in. His overall numbers, 4 ERA, not too bad. especially for a rookie. That's not bad, but he's got a 1.4 whip, which is not very good. He's been way worse at home, like I said, 5.24 home ERA with a 306 opponent batting average at home. Way better numbers on the road, which is why if I was him, I'd want to get the hell out of this organization, man. Like, you do not want to spend your first 2 seasons in this fucking stadium, man. I mean, maybe when they move to Las Vegas, they'll have a more reasonable stadium, but this is ridiculous. Jump looked like he was good last time out against the Red Sox. The Red Sox did not get anything going against him, and he actually won the game. That was one of the few Red Sox losses recently. That was the only loss the Red Sox took in that series. Jump shut them out for 6 innings, so he pitched pretty well, but he did walk a bunch of guys, and that's been kind of the issue with him. He's striking a lot of guys out, but he's walking a lot of guys. So his issue hasn't really been the home runs, believe it or not. So even though he pitches in this home run conducive stadium, he's been a little bit too hittable just in general. One hit per inning, not very good. Strikeout rate is good, well over 1 per inning, but the walk rate has been the main issue. He's walking too many guys. I think he's a good pitcher, though. I think he's got some talent. He does have kind of a high fly ball rate, which might mean maybe more home runs will come against him here. He might pitch well here, though, because he's facing a Detroit team that has not seen him before. So he does have that advantage, the unfamiliarity, though he's had that throughout this entire season, right? Like, except for maybe if he's had a start against a team that's actually seen him before. But other than that, that advantage has been on his side all season. He still hasn't pitched that well at home, so I don't really want to come in and try to back him here, but I probably do lean to the A's here in the first 5. I just think it could be a dream crusher for Detroit. The money is coming in on Detroit, though. 71% of tickets, 91% of the cash on them. They're at minus 110. It's like a pick-em price here, but doesn't it look way too easy to play Detroit? Oh, the team with the better record and the pitcher with the better ERA all on the Detroit side. It looks way too easy to me to play Detroit. So I think I would lean A's first 5. That's kind of that's the typical lean for me in a Gage jump game, right? And we've won doing that multiple times, but I think all of those games are on the road, though. So I'm very hesitant to do it in this stadium. I don't want to, obviously, and the total's high. It's at 11. The money's coming in on the over here as well. I'm not so sure about the over here, but maybe, because Montero doesn't have good numbers against the A's, although it's a very small sample. Jump does struggle at home. The A's bullpen is not good, so there are probably more indicators towards an over than an under here. But yeah, I think the better way to play it, in my opinion, I still think is taking the A's in the first 5 innings, although they might be actually a slight favorite in the first 5. But yeah, that's probably what I would do if I was going to do anything with it. BC, what's up, man? K Pasa, not too much, man. Nada. We're just going through these games here, man. I got a bunch of opinions in baseball today. Most of them have to do with unders. Minnesota, Seattle, I looked at this starting pitching matchup, and I was like, this looks like an under. I was like, how many unders am I going to put on my card today? This one I was able to scratch off pretty early on, though. There are not enough indicators for me to really play the under here, but the starting pitching matchup looks pretty good to me in this game. Seattle won the game yesterday after losing the first game, which, like I said, it was a bounce-back spot kind of because they lost the first game in a return home spot, and then they were able to bounce back in the next game. So it's a split series right now. Seattle might have a little bit more motivation. I mean, Minnesota, they seem to still be trying to win this year, though, which seems delusional to me. Like, why would Minnesota actually think that they can make the playoffs this year? It's not going to happen, dude. This is a joke. I mean, I know they're only 3 games out in their division right now. They're not a good team, dude. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen for Minnesota. So it's laughable to me. Minnesota's bullpen is one of their main issues. They're terrible. They're like, oh, let's just pick up a reliever or two. Like, they just picked up Minter from the Mets. I'm like, oh, yeah, that'll fix their bullpen. I don't think so. They used 6 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, including Minter, although he only threw 1 pitch. They got him used to it, man. Go out there and throw 1 pitch. Get used to being on the Twins. Get used to being in this horrible bullpen. There you go. Oh, my God. Seattle's bullpen is obviously the better one. They use 3 guys, so they're more rested as well. Seattle is ranked 11th in bullpen. I think they're like a top several bullpen, though, as I keep saying. Minnesota is bad. They're 29th. So, yeah, I don't think adding a couple of relief pitchers is going to fix that bullpen. Minnesota's the better offense, though. They're ranked 11th offensively, like I said, tied with the Giants and the Tigers. Seattle's been bad offensively, man. I don't know of another way to put it. They're 27th. They've been really struggling offensively. Taj Bradley is pitching for Minnesota. He is having a good season. He's been one of their best surprises of the season. 3.65 ERA, 1.21 whip. He's been a little bit worse on the road, though. 4.14 road ERA. But this is a pitcher-friendly stadium here, so he still might be able to pitch well here. He's been good recently. He's had a good month. Had a high strikeout rate over the month of July. High walk rate, too, though. He's walking like 3 guys every game. That's not going to cut it. That's not good. Although Minnesota's been winning a ton of games behind him. They've won 8 of his last 9 starts. And he's given up 2 or fewer earned runs in all but one of those. In all but 2 of all these starts here, including that 1 loss. So a lot to like here with Bradley. He's got a low hit rate. He's hard to hit. His walk rate is kind of high, though. So that's his one issue still, is that he's wild. He strikes out a lot of guys, and he does tend to give up a lot of fly balls, but Seattle should be a better stadium for him to knock some of those fly balls down without having them leave the yard. His numbers against Seattle, he's been good average-wise. He's held them to 217 average and 46 at-bats, but they have a 794 OPS off him because, like, all their hits have been extra-base hits. They have some home runs off him. Raleigh has 2 home runs off him. Rodriguez has 1. Julio Rodriguez. 10-5 strikeout walk ratio. So, yeah, overall, his numbers aren't good enough for me to really want to come in and play an under here, although some of these numbers were accumulated when Bradley was not pitching as well. Back when he was on Tampa Bay. He's having his best season now, so he is in his better form now. He's achieved his final form, maybe. So I don't know. I still think Bradley might do okay here, but it's not enough for me to really want to come in and actually back him here. George Kirby is pitching for the Mariners. I mean, he's not their best pitcher. He's got a 3.98 ERA. 1.3 whip is not really that good. Kirby has been better at home, though. 3.88 home ERA. Of course, you expect most Seattle pitchers to be better at home. His opponent batting average is definitely better at home. More pitcher-friendly ballpark, excuse me. Kirby was bad last time out in another pitcher-friendly park in Texas. He got lit up. He gave up 4 home runs in that one. That was not a good start. He was pitching well prior to that. His command numbers have still been good. Like, he's not really walking anybody. He's racking up a lot of strikeouts. That's what we've seen from him for most of the season. But his hit rate is way too high. He's a hittable pitcher, man, so that's not good. He kind of allows too many home runs in there, too, although he's pitching in a less home run-friendly park here. He doesn't really walk guys, so his command has been pretty good, although overall his strikeout rate is not really that high either, although it's been higher recently. Kirby against Minnesota, his numbers across the board here are pretty bad, though. In 51 at-bats, 314 average, 849 OPS, 11-2 strikeout walk ratio is good, but the rest of these numbers, yeah, no thanks. So obviously I'm not going to be playing an under in this one, although it seems like the odds makers think that it'll be a lower scoring game, which is a lot of times the case in Seattle. Money is backing the under pretty strongly here. Total's around 7 or 7.5, so it is a low total, which usually indicates you do kind of want to lean towards an under. 58% of tickets on the over, 94% of the cash on the under. I won't be doing that. Yeah, I mean, I just think there's too much in the way, like for these 2 starters. Like, there's too much bad in the matchup numbers. The money's backing Minnesota here as well. 71% of tickets on Seattle, 57% of the cash on Minnesota. And while I said I think Minnesota is delusional in thinking they can actually win, I actually would lean to them in the first 5 here. I think Bradley has the better matchup here. I think he's the better of the 2 pitchers here, believe it or not. So I like Minnesota in the first 5 here. So I'll agree with the market read in that case. But yeah, it's not a strong opinion from me. Seattle's around minus 130 something, so you'll probably still get Minnesota as an underdog in the first 5 there. But obviously, Minnesota's bullpen is not something you want to back here. Saab, what's up, man? You had over in the Mets-Marlins game. It was 6-2 in the 6th, and then no more runs were scored. Yeah, that's some bullshit. Although those are good bullpens, though. So I will say that. But yeah, to not have any more runs scored, that is kind of bullshit there. And I'm not a guy that plays overs in the first 5. You know, like I play unders in the first 5 to avoid bad bullpens. But if I think the pitching is going to be bad at the start, I think it's going to kind of continue throughout the game because it usually means worse relief pitchers come into the game. You went with me on the under in that one. That was good. You won on the Cubs. All right, good for you. Dude, I was not going to back David Peterson. I can't, even though he actually has good numbers against the Yankees, I think. I could not do that. Yeah, that it looks like you missed the 3-0 day. It should have been a 3-0 for you, yeah. I mean, I also went 2-1 yesterday, but my loss was more in the bag pretty early with the Mets side not getting there. And unfortunately, that was a favorite price, too. All right, San Francisco, San Diego here. San Diego, probably has more to play for here because they're still a winning team here and still in the mix for possibly the wild card. I don't think it's going to happen. And people are talking about San Diego selling, though. They're talking about them trading Mason Miller. So we'll see. But San Diego's won the last 2 games here. They're 2-1 in this series here. I think both teams will still show up. I mean, it's a divisional kind of rivalry series here. San Diego used a bunch of guys out of the bullpen, including Miller yesterday. They used 4 guys, so their bullpen is the better one, but it's not in the greatest rest shape here. San Francisco used 3. I still prefer San Diego's bullpen here. They're ranked 8th. I think they're one of the better bullpens. San Francisco is 23rd, so not very good. San Francisco's been the better offense. They're 11th, although I still doubt them and don't think they're that good. I still think there are just outlier games that are skewing their numbers. They're definitely better than San Diego, though. San Diego 25th. They have not been a good offense. Starting pitching here kind of looks like maybe a lower scoring setup with these 2 starters. When you start digging into it, I don't know, maybe not. Landon Raup is pitching for the Giants, 4.12 ERA, 1.26 whip. He's decent. He's been okay on the road as well, 4.02 road ERA. He's better at home, even though his home ERA is higher. His batting average is better on the road. But his splits aren't really that significant. He struggled last time out at home against Milwaukee. He's been dealing with some walk issues here, which has been the case for him for a while, though he pitched pretty well throughout the month of July mostly. It's just his strikeout rate was kind of down. His walk rate was a bit too high. Looking at him overall, he has a low hit rate, so he's hard to hit. His walk rate is too high. Like I said, he is a little bit wild, and his strikeout rate is pretty good. He fans a lot of guys with these wild breaking pitches that he throws, and his ground ball rate is also quite high, so he gets a lot of ground ball outs. Against San Diego, we got a pitcher-friendly park going on here, but his numbers aren't really that good against San Diego. In 66 at-bats, 273 average is kind of high. 730 OPS is below that 750 threshold, but it's close, so I think he's just average against San Diego. 16-8 strikeout walk ratio is not very good either, so I don't love Raup here. Michael King is pitching for San Diego. He's their only, actual solid starter at this point. 3.38 ERA, 1.17 whip. He's been pretty good at home. He's basically good home and away. His home road splits are very insignificant, but 3.36 home ERA. He's been pitching generally pretty well. Wasn't great last time against Colorado, but kind of got unlucky. Most of the guys that reach base wound up scoring. His command numbers are all right there. Overall, he's got a low hit rate. His walk rate is a little bit too high, though. He's been walking too many guys, and he doesn't strike out that many guys. So his strikeout rate's a little bit low, but he's generally a decent pitcher. Against San Francisco, though, that has not been the case. In 37 at-bats, San Francisco has gotten the best of him. 378 average, 1186 OPS, 7-10 strikeout walk ratio. That is not good. Only 6 of their hitters have faced him, but they've done a lot of damage against him. So I don't love King here in this one. I think the over might actually be an approach in this game, even though San Diego, usually you look for low-scoring games here, but the money is coming in on the over. 55% of tickets on the under, 74% of the cash on the over. Totals at 8. I probably agree with the over here, and I would lean San Francisco as well. I think Raup, well, at least in the first 5. I don't really want to deal with the bullpen scenario. Well, I don't want to deal with the bullpens, I should say. I still think San Diego's is better. But San Francisco in the first 5 as an underdog, maybe. I mean, San Diego's a pretty high price here, minus 140 something. 80% of the tickets, 77% of the cash on them. So the money indicating towards San Francisco. Yeah, I would agree with San Francisco in the first 5. I think Raup sets up a little bit better than King there. I think he can at least battle against King, but I still think I prefer the over in that game to anything else. I don't like the WNBA either. Connecticut, I mean, I thought I gave them out in a good spot, and they maybe should have covered that one. If you played them in that game against Washington with me, we got screwed on that one, man. I thought it was a good spot to do it coming out of the All-Star break, and the Connecticut had way more field goal attempts in the game. The whole thing was free throws. They were on the bad side of a ridiculous free throw disparity, and that's why that one, and they missed by 1.5 points. That was bullshit. But yeah, I'll talk about that game in a minute. We do have to talk about the Sunday night game, which unfortunately my Boston Red Sox are involved in the Sunday night game, but at least for them, they don't have to play tomorrow, so I'm happy about that. The Dodgers have to turn around and play tomorrow. They have to go to Chicago and play the Cubs tomorrow, so it's going to be a bad spot for the Dodgers tomorrow, kind of, with the Cubs not traveling, although the Cubs are going to be coming off of a big series against the Yankees. But yes, this is the NBC Peacock game. The Red Sox have already won another series. I think they've won 9 series in a row, or maybe 10. It's getting ridiculous. The Red Sox are on a 22-4 run here. They had one of the best monthly records in MLB history with a 21-4 in July, which was the best in franchise history. They're playing well, like, as a team. You know what I mean? They're playing well as a unit. They're, like, again, this is why they had to get rid of Alex Cora. Like, they would not be doing this under Cora. I'm sorry. But under Chad Tracy, they're just doing things differently, man. They're stealing more bases. Their base running has been way better. The fundamentals are just better. The fielding has been better. Under Alex Cora, the fielding was just totally lackluster, making tons of mistakes. The base running was totally awful as well. That's not what's happening now. The Red Sox are making good decisions, running the bases well. They're fielding pretty well, and they're using a lot of bunts, which is another thing. The Red Sox are playing small ball here with their offense that's not really that powerful of an offense, but they're putting up some runs now because they're just utilizing their hitters better as well. Now, I will say Wilson Contreras was the guy that Will Klein hit in the head with a pitch 2 days ago, which the Red Sox should have stormed the field after that, man, or they should have cleared the benches. You can't do that. He was throwing intentionally, and Contreras was in concussion protocol because of that, so he didn't play yesterday. So the Red Sox best hitter was out of the lineup yesterday, so it remains to be seen if he's going to play today or not. So something to consider. That also, I forgot to even mention that yesterday, but that obviously helped our under yesterday with Contreras not being in the lineup for the Red Sox. In this game here, the Red Sox, they do have a very good bullpen. They used 3 guys yesterday. They did have to use Chapman yesterday. They're using him too much, in my opinion. Chapman is putting guys on base way too often. I don't think he did last night, but yeah, I think they got to give him some more rest. He's good, but he's an old man. So, we'll see. Dodgers only used 1 guy out of the bullpen yesterday, so their bullpen's a little more rested, but the Red Sox are the number 1 bullpen in both WHIP and ERA. Below 3 in the ERA right now, though that might not last very long, but they're still a good bullpen. The Dodgers are 9th. They're an okay bullpen, but the lesser of the two. Dodgers are number 1 in offense. Again, they're obviously the better offense. Red Sox are 20th, tied with Arizona, but the Red Sox, again, they've been better recently. And the Red Sox probably have the better starting pitcher here, and they're a big underdog here still. Jake Bennett is getting disrespected in the market, man. Bennett is pretty good, and what's interesting, Bennett and Peyton Tolley actually, I think, know each other. They're both big left-handers from Oklahoma, but I guess they know each other from pitching in Oklahoma back in the day. Bennett actually went to University of Oklahoma. I don't think that that Tolley did, but I don't know. They somehow know each other, so I think keeping those 2 guys together is a good thing. But Bennett has been good. 2.74 ERA, 0.97 WHIP. That's good. He's actually been somewhat better on the road, 2.53 road ERA. He's pitching well. I mean, he's not really striking out a lot of guys. That's the one thing about him. But he doesn't put guys on base. He's got a low hit rate. He's got a low walk rate. But the strikeout rate, yeah, he doesn't come in and fool a bunch of guys. He gets a lot of ground ball outs and stuff like that. Weak contact. So I know that means the advanced analytics guys are going to come in and say that he's not that good. But I don't know, man. I mean, he's putting very few guys on base. I'd like to see him strike more guys out, but he's pitching effectively, and the Dodgers have never seen him before, so that should be an extra advantage to him against an offense that hasn't seen him before. Dodgers are going with Emmett Sheehan, and I think Sheehan is better than his numbers look, and he might be extra motivated here because if Skubal is going to join the rotation, at some point the Dodgers are getting like Snell back and Glasnow back and whatever, so Sheehan might feel like he's auditioning for a job. Because think about the rotation. If those guys come back, it's going to be Yamamoto, Skubal, Glasnow, Snell, and then who's the fifth guy? Am I missing somebody? Who's the fifth guy going to be? I know the Dodgers are stacked, but like it might be, like an audition for that fifth role. Like who else do they have? Sasaki is probably going to wind up being back in the bullpen. Sheehan, Lauer is probably not going to make it. Who else do they have? I forget. I'm missing one guy. I don't know. Let me look. I forget. But what I'm saying is that Sheehan might come out with extra motivation here because he might feel like he's auditioning for. Oh yeah, Ohtani. I'm an idiot. Yeah, of course Ohtani would be in the rotation. Well, maybe not because they use him in weird ways. So I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Sheehan feels like he's auditioning for a job, especially right now with those other guys injured. He's got a 4.95 ERA, but I think he's better than that. His 1.25 whip is not that bad. He's been better at home, 4.63 home ERA. Had a bounce-back start last time after he wasn't good against Philly. He pitched pretty well against the Mets last time, although it's the Mets. They're not a good offense. The Dodgers have been losing a lot of his games. They've lost 8 of his last 9 starts, so that's not a great sign that the Dodgers continue to lose when he pitches. But his hit rate is okay. His walk rate's all right. That's not bad. His strikeout rate is well above 1 per inning, so these numbers across the board really don't look too bad for Sheehan here. It's just he allows a fair amount of home runs, which isn't good. But it seems like you're getting a little bit unlucky when you're just all the damage coming against you is the long ball, He's been pretty good against the Red Sox. They've faced him a little bit. They have 13 at-bats against him. Only 1 extra base hit, which is a double from Connor Wong, who is not one of the Red Sox better hitters. 231 batting average, 593 OPS, 4-1 strikeout walk ratio. So I think Sheehan might pitch well as well here. So I think this is another under. The total is way higher in this one, so I don't know what's going on with that total. It's at 8.5. It was at 9 at one point. I know you're not getting that key number of 9 anymore. The total has crashed off of that 9. The money's come in on the under, but this was my other lean that I had. 62% of tickets, 80% of the cash on the under. I like the under in this one again. It would be a full game play for me because I think both bullpens are good, and both starting pitchers I think could pitch well here again as well. So yeah, I think the under makes the most sense here. Dodgers are also a huge favorite. They've gone up from -157 up to the -170 something range. I know they're a home team trying to avoid a sweep, which usually is a motivated spot, so I wouldn't necessarily want to fade the Dodgers here, but that price looks kind of ridiculous. Like, it seems like it's disrespecting a very capable pitcher in Bennett here. 66% of tickets, 88% of the cash on the Red Sox. So the money is coming in on the Red Sox, and I agree. If you can get the Red Sox at like a +1.5 on the run line or like a +1 run line, a hot team like that where they might be in a pitching duel here, and it might be close, taking the Red Sox on the run line makes some sense to me here, but I think my preferred approach is to go under again in that game. But it's not on my card, so there you go. You played Connecticut versus Chicago. Yeah, I forget what my opinion was on that one. They were winning 14 in the second quarter and then lost on the +4. Yeah, the WNBA is weird, man. Like, the WNBA, you see extreme shifts between the two halves. I don't really know why that is. If there are extreme adjustments that get made, why would that happen in the WNBA? I have no idea, but the WNBA seems to have some extreme shifts that go on in, like, halves and in the fourth quarter and stuff. I don't really know why. But anyway, yeah, let's talk about the WNBA, and then I can get out of here. I don't have any plays here. We do have 4 games. The first one is the best game, which is in the afternoon at 1 p.m., on ABC. It's a big game between Indiana and Minnesota, but this Minnesota team, I would be shocked if they don't win the championship here. Although, of course, yeah, there you go. Their lesbian-looking coach here, going all women and whatever, is advocating for trans rights. So that's just great. There's a reason to not like Minnesota, but they're a dominant team, dude. They're clearly the best team in the league, and I don't even think it's that close, especially because they got Collier back. They were dominating even without her, and she's one of the best players in the league, and now she's back. Yeah, okay. Who's going to stop this Minnesota team? I don't know. I don't see anybody doing it. Minnesota, they've won a bunch of games in a row. They're on a roll. They're not going to overlook Indiana here. They're coming home from Toronto, but who cares? It's whatever. It was a single-game road trip. They won't overlook a home game that's on national TV against Caitlin Clark. They'll show up. I think they want to come in and probably make a statement here and show that they're the better team. I don't think they played at Indiana at all yet this year. Now, on the other hand, Indiana's going to show up as well. They're going to be motivated here. Indiana's coming in on a nice 5-game win streak as well, but they've played weak teams here in this stretch, man. The only good win they have is that win over New York. Other than that, they beat Seattle twice, Connecticut, and Portland. Okay. I don't think Indiana's a bad team. They're not, but they're not as good as the Western Conference. They're not as good as Minnesota, and beating basically the 3 worst teams in the league pretty much, I'm not impressed by that. Yeah, I think they're going to be up against it coming into this one against Minnesota. Minnesota has one more day of rest, by the way, if you care about that. Minnesota hasn't played since Thursday. Indiana played on Friday. I don't think that matters much, but I think Minnesota is the right side here. I think they're the better team. Indiana's one of those dreaded public underdogs because people are going to look at this and think, oh, this is a close matchup between a good Minnesota team and Caitlin Clark's team, and we're getting 5.5, 6 points here with Indiana, so the public looks like they want to take those points. I would not do it. 84% of tickets, 64% of the cash on Indiana, so the money is indicating against Indiana. Public underdog, man. I recommend fading public underdogs because you're getting the better team and the public doesn't even want them. So it's one of those types of games when it looks like it's like this high profile matchup between 2 good teams. You see this in football a lot, right? Like a lot of times the public will grab the points with the underdog thinking it's value and that it'll be a close game between 2 good teams, but it doesn't work out that way as often. You know what I mean? More often than not, the better team, if the odds makers are telling you they're the better team and the public doesn't even want them, they wind up cashing. So, yeah, I would lay the points with Minnesota if I was going to play that one. And I think that's my best WNBA opinion of the day, actually, because, yeah, it's just one of those public underdog setups. You make money if you fade them in the long term. So I think that's the best lean for me in the WNBA is Minnesota minus the points. LA at Portland. LA just traded Kelsey Plum, by the way. So she hasn't been playing because she's been hurt, but they traded her to Phoenix, I'm pretty sure, which is an interesting move because Phoenix is not really in it here. I don't think Phoenix is making the playoffs, so very, very strange trade. To me, it's between 2 teams that aren't going anywhere, basically. But that's going to signal to LA that they're giving up on the season. You know what I mean? Although she hasn't played for a long time. But that, to me, I think LA, they're going to be in kind of a bad mental state here. After that, we just traded away our star player. So now we know we're not going to be going for it here. You know what I mean? So I don't think that's good. They're coming off a huge... Actually, you know what? This might be the best... At least this is the best situational lean here is towards Portland. I like Portland in this game. LA just played a big game against New York, man. They almost beat New York. They were 5.5-point dogs there at home, and they came within 4 points, and then was a close game towards the end there. So now LA just traded away their best player, and they're coming off a close loss against a good team, and now they have to go and play Portland. Doesn't look like a good spot to me. NBC and Peacock have this game, by the way, which Portland might get fired up, pun intended, the Portland Fire, because they get to play a national TV game here, and they're coming off an embarrassing blowout loss to Indiana. You know what? I'm starting to consider putting this. Should I put this on my card? I don't know. It's close. Dude, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't think about I thought about it, but I don't know. It didn't just register in my mind right, I guess. Portland, they got blown out in their last game against Indiana, and they're staying at home. So, to me, you got to think they're going to get up for this. And they did play at L.A. earlier this year and lost by 17. So, L.A. is probably not going to take them very seriously here. Portland's on a 5-game losing streak. They're not playing well, but those were against, or 4-game losing streak. Those were against good teams. Minnesota, Dallas, Vegas, and Indiana. LA is a big step down from all those teams. I like Portland, man. 69% of tickets, 90% of the cash on them. Who does LA play next? Let me see. Is this a sandwich spot? I think it's not, but let me see. They're playing Chicago next. They actually did lose to Chicago the last time they played them. They've lost to everybody recently, but I don't know. Would they pay more attention to Chicago? I don't know. I mean, they beat Chicago not too long before that. This is still a bad spot, though. I definitely like Portland here. 69% of tickets, 90% of the cash on them. Yeah, it's pretty tempting, man. Yeah, all right, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's add a play on Portland. Let me see. What can we get with the number here? A lot of plays today, and I'm going to have to do my Instagram videos here. Yeah, you know what? I was thinking Minnesota might be the best play, but now I think Portland actually is. Yeah. Let me see. Portland, you can get them as an underdog, right? Is that right? Yeah, I see one book has them at +1.5. Really? Mostly you're going to see -1.5 or a pick 'em, though. Let me see what's the money line. Money line, yeah, one book, the scoreboard book, has them as an underdog here. I think I'm going to do it. But, yeah, I would still recommend them if you want to take them at -1.5 or -1 or whatever. Or, actually, you could play the money line at about -115. Any of those, I think, is a fine option. But I don't know how I'm seeing them at +1.5 here at this one book. So I'm going to do it. And put a little bit on that money line as an underdog there. But if you don't have access to that one book, I don't know how many states it's available in. You're going to be seeing mostly a -1.5 and a pick 'em here, but I still recommend it. But there you go. We're adding a play on Portland here, but yeah, I still recommend it. I think if they cover a 1.5, they're probably winning. So let's take Portland. I would still do it. I would still lay the 1 point or lay the small money line price there. At -115, -114, whatever the hell it is. All right, let's finish this off. Connecticut and Dallas. Saab has his eye on this one on ESPN. The thing is, these ESPN night games, prime time, the home teams tend to be a little bit more motivated in these games, so I don't know if I really want to fade Dallas here. But you're right, they might overlook Connecticut, but Dallas is coming off a loss to Washington, man. The only thing is they play Washington again next. So maybe they're going to be looking ahead and be looking at revenge against Washington. But we're talking about a Dallas team that hasn't won since before the break. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I really want to fade Dallas here. They might actually just show up here. And the last time they played Connecticut, they only beat them by 3, even though they went into Connecticut and beat them. That was an interesting spot because, again, Beckers and Fudd, is that her name? Yeah, both played for UConn. So they were going back to kind of their home there to play against Connecticut. And Dallas is now playing them at home this time. Now, the one thing I will say that does favor Connecticut or does support Connecticut here is Dallas does not cover spreads well as a favorite, even though they're a decent team. They're winning games right now. They play up-tempo and they play high-scoring games, but they have not been covering spreads. They've been overvalued in the market. So you're right that they're not good at covering as a big favorite, and they are a big favorite here at -10.5, -11. But I don't really want to fade them here. 67% of tickets, 69% of the cash on them. As far as the totals, by the way, this is a lower than the other two. The total in the Indiana-Minnesota game is unbelievably high at 191.5. That's one of the highest totals you'll ever see. I would not play that over. I mean, Minnesota's a good defense, so I know Indiana's a really good offense, and they lack on the defensive side, but I think Minnesota's going to control the pace in that game, so I would not. I think Minnesota is correlated to an under in that game against Indiana, by the way. So, yeah, I think Indiana wants to go up tempo and have a high-scoring game. Minnesota probably wants to slow them down a bit. So that total is ridiculously high at 191.5, down from 193. I think I lean under in that one slightly, although when it's a high total that's that high, usually the odds makers are telling you something. That's just kind of crazy. But, yeah, this Dallas game, the total is a bit low. Money coming in on the over in this one. I have no idea if Brittany Griner is back for Connecticut here. Connecticut, they haven't won since the All-Star break either, since before the All-Star break. They had that kind of close call against Chicago last time up, I think that was a loss for us on the show. If I remember, was it? I don't remember. Maybe it was. Brittany Griner is still out for Connecticut. I don't think it matters that much. But, yeah, I don't have a good read on this one, man. I just don't. So do what you want with that game. But, yeah, I don't have a strong read on it. I like Minnesota and Portland both a lot better than whatever the hell is going on in this game. I don't really have a strong lean on it at all. I don't even want to give out a lean there. And then we have Toronto and Golden State. Golden State, they're definitely a good home team, and the Western Conference is better than the East. Golden State looked like they were in the running to get Plum, and they didn't do it. But I think they're going to show up. I mean, they've lost they've lost one game coming out of the All-Star break. But you can see what happened. They were on a huge hot streak and then lost their last game in a kind of zigzag spot against Washington going into the All-Star break. And then they came out with completely disrupted momentum and lost to Phoenix coming out of the break. They might bounce back here now that they're back at home. They're playing a bad Toronto team. They did just beat Toronto on the road by 8, though. But I don't know, man. I mean, after losing 2 games in a row to mediocre teams, I don't think Golden State's going to overlook anybody here. So I don't hate Golden State here. Toronto is going to show up, too. They're not a good team. They've lost 5 games in a row, but most of them were against good teams. Atlanta, Vegas, and Minnesota twice in here. Coming off a blowout loss and starting a road trip. But it is one of those spots where Toronto is starting a road trip, having to go to the Pacific Coast. So this isn't a late game. It's at 8:30 p.m. But, you know, I talk about these East Coast teams, Eastern time zone teams going out west, having to travel across 3 time zones and play late on your biological clock. It's not really the greatest thing for them. Would I want to lay 12.5 or 13.5 now with Golden State? No, not really. 80% of tickets, 87% of the cash on Toronto. So the money seems to be back in Toronto a little bit here. Golden State's definitely the better team, but it's a low total. It's in the 160s, so I'm not really interested in laying a double-digit spread with a low total like that. That kind of indicates that the points are going to be at a premium, so usually you don't want to lay a huge favorite like that with a lower total like that. It's more the case in a lower-scoring sport, though. Like in basketball, obviously a team could still cover a double-digit spread like that in a somewhat low-scoring game, but it's still less likely, though, so I'm not going to do anything with this game. I might slightly lean to Toronto, but I don't have a good read on that one either. And that's going to do it, man. My plays today, I had a lot of leans, but we have 3 first 5 unders, which are in Philadelphia, Baltimore in baseball here, under the 4. Arizona, Cleveland, under the 4. Milwaukee and Anaheim, under the 3.5. But hopefully Miz just shuts them out, man, and then we don't really have to worry about it that much. And then WNBA, last minute, we're jumping on Portland, which you probably have to lay about 1 point with them, but I'm also fine with that. But I found them at plus 1.5 just now, so I'm doing it that way. That's going to do it. And then my extra leans, by the way, my 2 strongest baseball leans not on the card were first 5 under in Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. I liked that one. And then what was the other one? Full game under in Red Sox Dodgers, I think was probably next. Yeah, I think those are the next 2 that I liked the most. So do with that all what you want. That's going to do it. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram. Like, subscribe to the channel here. Boost these numbers, man. Let's go. You know, give me comments. Hype on mobile, whatever the hell that even means. I don't know. Hype me up. We're on audio, Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. Listen over there. That helps me out as well. Covered in Uke on YouTube for my Uke covers. You can check that out as well. Patreon.com/LearnToToad if you want to support me that way. I know I have to get back in the swing of things and keep these things up to date, man. I'm bad at it. I apologize. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Loser cast every Tuesday night. I need to find a loser for this week. I'll probably have some ideas, though. I need a loser. So we'll see what happens with that. My camera just unfocused, probably because of my TV over here. Talking about football. Football has been the talk, man. So I'm probably going to, maybe I'll see if Clint wants to come on for another episode of Bald at some point before the football season starts. I know I gave you I did that show mostly to give out the win totals, but I kind of talked about how I see the divisions playing out. I might have some differing opinions on the divisions, but I like my win totals, so you can go back and watch that show that I did from a couple of months ago. But I'll probably do some more football preview stuff in the near future, and I'll do a college football one, even though I don't know much about it. And with the NIL and transfer stuff, you get completely different teams every year, pretty much. So it's hard to even do. But we'll talk about what the odds are saying and whatever, schedule strength, stuff like that. So I did it last year, whatever. You know, it's just fun to talk about it. So if you subscribe, you'll get the notifications for all that. That's going to do it. And New York Giants G-Spot podcast, maybe we'll be back at some point. That's going to do it. I appreciate it, everybody. Let's have a winning day today. Peace.
If the dark starts talking, hand me the phone. Let somebody answer, let somebody know you do not have to you're still here.